on Edge. Today it's a little bit different. Today is a rather special show. I'm joined with the very beautiful and amazing and talented and incredible and wonderful and kind and happy and lovely and gorgeous Teresa Greco. Teresa, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. And I love the way you pronounce my name too.
It's who I am. This is the joy of our beautiful names and being from different countries. Now, today's show is, the show is normally I do this little intro and you start with your story, but today we're going to have a little bit of a back and forth. You see, I've had a lot of feedback so far that on the shows where we've had conversations at the end, people enjoyed the conversations. So today, it's going to be a bit of your story as a conversation. So that means there's a bit more of me on screen. Quite a bit of you too. And we'll see how it goes. Are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm so ready for this.
Okay, my first question, my dear. I do want to go through your life's journey. But first of all, if I was to sum you up in one simple sentence, what would it be?
It's been the evolution of me, the discovery of me in every moment that every single day allows us, in every experience, every interaction, every thought allows us to discover more of who we really are. And I feel like I've had to take off the veil or the cloak or the blinders almost that for a part of my life didn't allow me to see the full extent or essence of that which I am. And life has brought me to this point that I recognize now that what I was always doing was learning about who the real Teresa is.
So, who was the masked Teresa? What life did she have?
Teresa was wearing many different masks, trying to meet the expectations of others by trying to be the perfect mom, perfect wife, perfect daughter, perfect employee, perfect everyone that I thought everyone wanted me to be. And in doing that, I lost myself. That it was the milestone of turning 40 that helped me to take a step back and reevaluate my life. And in doing so, I recognized that I wasn't living life according to me. I was living life according to everybody else's expectations of how they expected me to show up. That I had achieved all the things that family, society, culture, and religion told me I needed to have a happy life. So, fulfilling career, beautiful, healthy family, our own home, cars in the driveway, vacations a year, lots of beautiful material things. And so, if my life checked off all the boxes, how is it that I still felt unfulfilled, unhappy, and that there was a feeling that there was something missing in my life? That it didn't matter how much more education I got, how much more I tried to serve people, where I went, what I did, what I bought. There was always this feeling that something was missing. And so all of this led to me being at the lowest point of my life, where I believed that my life meant nothing, and that if I no longer existed, it would only really matter to my kids, that everybody would continue living their own life and who cares? And so it really was, as I said, the lowest point of my life. And so I could only go up from there. And in the asking of particular questions, that it was the milestone of turning 40, I think that we All of us have those crossroad moments in our life that force us to take that step back. For me, it was that milestone that if I had arrived at half my life at that point, could I imagine living the same life for the next 40 years, where you get up, you go to work, you come home, you eat, sleep, repeat over and over and over? That I was living on autopilot too, going through the week, getting to the end, and like, oh, is this all there is to life?
We've all had that experience. I remember being in the corporate world till 2006, and I had 5 weeks holiday, and I hadn't had a big holiday like that in a long time. And I came back from my holiday and walked into the office and went, no, no. And within 3 weeks, I'd handed my notice in and left.
Mhm. We're destined for more. We're destined for more. We're destined for more than what society tell us life on earth is supposed to be like. That this is what it is. You check off all these boxes and you're going to be happy. That's life. It's going to be so great for you. And you realize that you achieve all these things. You're going through the motions, as you said, in the corporate. We're making money, buying things, having like the odd experience on the weekend or on your vacation, and that's what it means to be human. And it's more than that. It's more than that.
Yeah.
And it's only until we awaken to the full extent of that which we are. And so when I said that there was this feeling that something was missing, what was missing was my true and authentic self. That's what was missing. That if somebody's watching and they feel the same way, that they're trying to fill this void that they're doing in a variety of ways outside of themselves, that I'm here to tell you that you will never find it outside of yourself, that you find it inside of you. There's a whole world to discover inside of you that nobody talks about. Nobody gives us the tools. That I was brought up religious, Catholic, went to church, and there was different pieces of information that kept God outside of me, kept also direction, that we are conditioned to believe that we need to look outside of ourselves for what should we do next, and what do you think about this, and that there's a lot of people offering advice about what we should all be doing to maybe make more zeros for our bank account, or you're not doing it right, you need to follow this 9-step program. Lots of people offering so much direction, and especially now in days with so much content out there, right? It's like, where do you turn, where do you turn, and it ends up making you feel more lost in the chaos of the outside world. And so what I want to talk about today is like through my messaging and through all the learning, that everything that I've gained, is that this, more than ever before, it's important for us to go inward, to discover, which I didn't know anything about, our inner being. That if people ask me before, who's Teresa? Oh, I'm a mother, I'm an educator, I'm an editor, I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, I'm lots of different things. That's what I am. But I was lost in those roles and responsibilities. I thought that was the full extent of who I was, not knowing that there was a part of me that I had been disconnected from, because nobody told me, nobody taught me how to go inward and discover my inner being. And that's why I felt like there was something missing from my life, that there was a void that no matter what I did, I couldn't fill. It's because there was a part of me, an entire world within me, that I needed to learn more about, to
So
connect to on an everyday basis and on all the time basis.
I wanna ask a little bit about that inner being you mentioned. What is that? Are we looking at our inner child? Are we looking at our subconscious or unconscious
Mhm.
self? Or what's that inner being?
Mhm. I believe our inner being is our spiritual self. So, although I was brought up religious, as I said, like going to church and doing all the things, our spiritual self is also something that throughout the ages has been considered weird and woo woo, right? We know that witches were condemned for talking about that
Yep.
aspect of ourselves. And still in society, still people feel uncomfortable as soon as you talk about the spiritual self. But the spiritual self is the energy part of us, the infinite, eternal part of us that one day when this shell dies, that infinite eternal part continues to live on. And we know that through lots of different types of, let's say, spiritual texts out there. But the crucifixion of Jesus is, or let's they say the resurrection of Jesus is one of those examples of the infinite eternal part of us that continues to live on. It's the energy that has been looking out through these eyes your entire life. That little inner being, you said, that little inner child, oh, she's still there, and the teenager's still there, and the young woman that I was is still there. It's the part of me that has been learning, growing, and expanding my entire life, that although the shell has been changing, the energy part of me has been in here observing my life the entire time. That's the part that we're talking about. That's the part that we need to connect with. That's the love part of us, because it's only ever about the love. And it's that small quiet voice inside of us that we don't listen to enough. It's that gut instinct, that intuition, whatever you want to call it. It's that. And that's the part that is so creative, so empowering, so magnificent, so incredible. It's that's the part that we should be really living from and aligning the other aspects of ourselves to that. So if we're not living our happiest life, because I wasn't happy and it doesn't make sense for me, as I said, because my life looked perfect, but it's because we're not aligned with that happiness. I believe that spiritual self is always happy, loving, and at peace. And when we align our mental, emotional, and physical self with that, those are the moments that we feel. We feel alive, we feel energetic, we feel at peace, we feel like we've come home to who we really are.
And you used one of my favorite words just then, love,
Mhm.
because that's the core essence to who we are as people. But why do you think that here you were in the perfect life? Well, it seemed like the perfect life. It fitted
Mhm.
all the boxes. It ticked all the boxes. I wrote, because while you've been speaking, I write notes. So if you see me lean forward, that's me writing notes. um, I mean, you talked about you were checking the boxes. It was, I wrote the trophy life.
Mhm.
It was the trophy life. It was the, oh, look at me. Thank you. Yeah, I have the house, the picket fence, the 2.4 children, the dog, the cat,
Mhm.
the blah, 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 blah. All those things. And during that time, there was something missing.
Mhm.
Here you were playing a role that your younger self was doing, your teenage self, your 20-year-old self, 30-year-old self. These were the roles that were being played. And then when you turn 40, we hit upon the true and authentic self and
Mhm.
doing that discovery of your inner being. Now, the thing with that inner being, you summed it up in one word: love. Why are people so afraid to be authentic in love?
I think in some cases we're disconnected from it.
But why?
because there's all this programming and conditioning that happens to us as children, that we come into this world as a blank slate. We don't know anything about what it means to be human. We know what it means to be spirit, but we come down here, and as children, so I'm an educator of almost 30 years, a parent myself, and so children come in as this blank slate, and they look to those people around them to guide them, to tell them about what it means to be human. But the messaging that gets thrown at us as children is like, oh no, you're never going to be able to do that because, oh, you don't have enough money. You don't have the right education. You don't have the right skin color. You don't have the right clothes. You don't have lots of different things. And no, you're never going to be able to achieve those dreams that are here on your heart. That you came onto this planet saying, oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a musician. I want to be a hockey player. I want to be, no, that will never make you any money. So you don't want to do those things.
So
And
shall
then
we
I
just
learned,
interrupt you
mhm.
and make a joke about an astronaut who's a musician?
Why, who's that?
Sorry. Have you seen the news about Katy Perry going into space?
Oh no,
Allegedly.
no.
Allegedly. It's
Uh-huh.
the news reports are looking like it was a green screen situation.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Yeah. So when you said, I'm going to be an astronaut, I want to be a musician, I'm just going, oh, topical.
Right. But until the world tells
But,
you that, you won't achieve that. Or what was said
but
to me was,
why? Why? I have to interrupt you. Why?
why does the
Why
world
are
do this?
people stopping us from feeling love? Why are people so afraid of love?
Because they've been hurt in the past.
No,
Why
that's
don't you
just
tell
part
us,
of the
Jamie?
experience. I'm busting on this one because this is my favorite topic. This is so my favorite topic, and I'm just so about it. The reason people are afraid to show love is because when you're in a place of love, you are empowered. You are strong and powerful. You are not part of the sheep. You are not part of the herd. You are not part of the community. You are an individual in love, which puts you in so much power. It makes you so strong. Look at those couples who have been together for a long time that love each other to pieces. I can give you a beautiful example. My mother and my late stepfather, who passed last year, they were together for 40 years. Guess what? I didn't get on very well with him. And that's sad, but we had different beliefs and values. But I absolutely loved him. You know why? Because he loved my mother and he treated her like a goddess, like a queen. And he loved her every minute of those 40 years they were together. And I love him for that. My mum knows him and I didn't get on. And that's okay. But she knew I respected him because of how much he loved her. And as a couple, you could see them together. You could see how powerful they were together. And they went through the good, the bad, and the ugly. They had successful businesses, they had failure businesses. Their home was broken into, their dog was killed. Um, they had some pretty hard stuff happening. But they loved each other so much and themselves that they were together for 40 years. Now, love is power. And unfortunately, love of that power can then manipulate others. And it can be done in bad ways as well as good. when you keep the community out of love. Why is the divorce rate over 50%? In fact, it's even higher. I think it's up to around 70% now. Why? Because people are so disempowered in their job, in their careers, in their education, in the community. To be our authentic self. And you're seeing me as my authentic self now because I'm where love is concerned. It's my passion. Love is my passion. And this is part of being authentic. I wasn't always this way, though. It was a journey, and you said it at the beginning when I asked what was the sentence. Can you repeat your sentence from the beginning? It was the evolution of you, the discovery of you. I've been on that journey too. When we have those journeys, transformation occurs, both good and bad. And love is the power behind it. How did you discover love when you were looking at your inner being?
Mm-hmm. So everything you've said resonates because I wasn't loving myself at all. I was actually my worst critic instead of my greatest cheerleader. I was sabotaging, limiting, hating, degrading, belittling myself on an everyday basis. So that true and authentic is it is the love that we are. But that programming and conditioning that I talked about is we're being passed on knowledge from people who aren't loving themselves either. So when they said to me, "Oh, you're too much of this and you're too much of that," or "You're not enough." So I had a lot of negative things that were said to me over the course of my life. So you're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. You're not athletic enough. You're too loud. You're too energetic. You're too rambunctious. So it was either too much. And because we as children are looking for that love, we want to give love and receive it too. And so I was making my way doing that, loving till my parents said, no, you don't want to do that because you could get hurt. No, you don't want to do that because you're a girl. No. So it's like all of this just teaching me how I needed to behave if I wanted to be loved, liked, and accepted by other people. And what did that do? It shrunk me. It killed me to some extent. That when I was at the lowest point of my life, I believed my life meant nothing.
Just breathe, my friend.
And somebody could only feel like that if they weren't loving themselves. Yeah. And so that journey to who I really am is discovering how to love all aspects of myself, how to connect constantly to the love of my inner being, to the love that my spiritual self is always offering me. It is that. And it's aligning my mental self that for most of my life told me that I couldn't do things. How many times do we say to ourselves, "You're such a loser"? Or "You're suck." Or "You're not good enough." Lots of different things that in our mind, we have words that were said to us by other people that then become that inner voice that plays on repeat, the 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day 95% of them the same as yesterday, just recycling over and over and over. And if those old tapes are just tearing you down and spitting you out day in and day out, how can we ever feel empowered? How can we ever be what you were just saying? And so this messaging is just passed on from generation to generation, that I tell adults, be so careful of what you tell children, because children come into this world full of aspirations and dreams, full of possibilities, full of creativity and imagination. And then adults come along and say, no, no, that'll never happen for you. No, no, you need to be different if you want people to like, love, and expect you and accept you on this planet. And that leads us into very dark spaces and holes where we feel like we can't talk to anybody, that we're all alone. But yet we're all battling the same thing. We're not loving ourselves the way that we need to. Because if we did, we would be the powerful individuals that you're saying that we are, because that's the truth. And the more we spend time loving ourselves the way that we need to, the more we are reminded of that truth. And I have to spend time every day reminding myself of the truth, because I'm rewiring and reprogramming those old beliefs that weren't serving me and that keep us in fear, keep us stuck, keep us playing small and not achieving our goals and our aspirations the way that we want to. And I believe that depression on a very deep level is us not living the life we really came here to live. That as spiritual beings, we had different things that we wanted to do and experience. And if we're not doing that because we're like, well, I have to be a mechanic because my father told me to, or oh yeah, I have to do this because it's so many generations and I have to. We didn't come here for have tos or shoulds.
My mum wanted me to be an accountant. And at age 12, I was doing the profit and loss and balance sheets for 14 years. And I studied accounting, and then I studied international taxation, and spoke on stages with financial scenarios. And it helped one part of my life, but it didn't actually help my heart.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't. Oh yeah, I was standing on stage talking to people about finances and improving their wealth and all that sort of wonderful stuff. But it was hollow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was knowledgeable, and I was able to help over 2,000 people improve their situation. But the one person that I needed to help the most, I didn't. I kept failing him.
Mm-hmm.
I kept stopping him from shining. I kept stopping him from being in that place of power. I kept stopping him by, as you said, saying things about, calling him a loser.
Mm-hmm.
Now you said that you're rewiring your old beliefs. If somebody was watching right now and they needed to rewire their old beliefs, what's the first step forward for them? What's the most simplest, easiest, no-brainer, free step forward for them?
I think first is awareness. Awareness of the thoughts that we have that are keeping us on autopilot. Autopilot means we're not even aware. We're just doing the same things day in and day out, thinking the same things. It's waking up to that and understanding that we are not our thoughts, we are not our brain. And I know that that might sound weird to you when you're like, what do you mean? Like, my brain is, it's controlling everything. But there's an awareness behind the brain. The essence of you can actually take almost like a back seat. Michael Singer calls this the roommate in your head, where you, Eckhart told me the same thing, where that awareness was able to see the thoughts that he was having, the same negative ones. And it was that moment when he said to himself, I'm so sick of myself. And he was like, who's that? Who said, I'm so sick of myself? That awareness is who you really are. And that awareness allows you to see the duality in the brain, in the thoughts that we have, the ones that are empowering and the ones that are disempowering. And I see it like, you know, that analogy of the devil and the angel on our shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
That devil could be, you know, like your ego voice that's always saying, no, you don't want to do that because last time you failed. No, you don't want to do that because people laughed at you. No, you don't want to do that because you lost too much money. No, because people aren't going to like it if you shine too much. No, it's that fear voice on that one shoulder. And then we have that little quiet voice at first, but if you continue to listen to that angel voice, that angel voice is your inner being. That angel voice is your true and authentic self. It's your spirit that's saying, oh, you can go for that. You're limitless. You can achieve anything that you put your mind to. You can be, do, or have anything that you desire. When I listen to my inner being, that little angel that's always rooting for me, it's always rooting for me. And it says, Teresa, you can do that. And then this one says, no, well, I don't know because people could laugh at you. It's it's paying attention to those little voices, because that negative voice that you could be listening to that is so loud because you've been listening to it for years, that's the one that we need to quiet, and we need to connect more to the one that's telling us the truth of who we really are,
I
because
have
that.
a
Mhm.
I have a little story about the duality that a lot of people might realize or have heard. And I believe it was a Native American story, but I'm just going to call this person a wise man. It's a little less. That way I can be culturally sensitive in case I screw it up. Um, there's a wise man, and there's a group of people, and there's a wise man there. And this young child comes up and says to the wise man, just got to remember why they came up. What is something that he needed to know? And the wise man said, my child, inside each of us there are two wolves. One wolf is good, one wolf is bad. And the child goes, well, which one should I listen to? And the wise man said, the one you feed.
Mhm.
If you feed bad things, the bad wolf wins. If you feed the good wolf, the good wolf wins. And I think it's funny that we have this duality inside us. Why do you think we actually have that duality? I mean, yes, we have the ego and our spiritual self. And we often say, oh, the ego is separate to our spiritual self. Let's say they're part of the duality. Is that just something that's been created to manipulate us more, to separate us from our power? Could the ego actually be part of our spiritual self? What do you think?
I think the ego is something that is created to as part of the human self. Um, the ego, I think, is there designed to help keep us safe. Um, but in keeping us safe, it can help, it's keeping us small and it's keeping us disconnected. I think that the ego is part of this experience. And if we weren't that on the other side, that there is no ego, that's maybe playing devil's advocate for things.
Okay,
Maybe.
I got a question for you because you just said the ego keeps us safe. Now I got to say that my ego has put me into some really unsafe places.
Oh,
So I can't say that the ego keeps us safe. To me, the ego is a integrated part of our spiritual self that shows us what we are capable of. Because we're all capable of good and bad. We're all capable of excelling or shrinking. And I think it's the duality that's the issue. And I don't really believe that it's the ego that keeps us stuck. Because what we do in psychiatry or psychology is we go, oh, the ego is the problem, or this is the problem. That no, it's what we're listening to that's the problem. It's the words we're saying to ourselves. It's and why are we saying these things? And again, we're going back to my question earlier. Why? And the answer is to keep us out of our power, to keep us out of our strength, to stop us growing. Because could you imagine how, if we took the first 40 years of your life, and wasn't long ago, if we put Teresa today into those 40 years, what would her life be like?
if we did what, Jake? Sorry?
If we put you as you are today with the knowledge that you have, with the peace in your heart, with the happiness, with the spiritual connection that you have to your inner self, to your inner being, what would your life have been like? What would have been different?
Mhm. That's such a great question. I know, I don't to say that I've achieved lots of beautiful things in my life. So I think that the resume would have been the same, right? People go to my show like, oh my God, Teresa, like what haven't you done? Like it's a lot. I'm like the achiever personality type. So I think that that part would have been the same. But how I made my way through the world wouldn't have been with so much, with me being so critical of myself. And critical to the extent that I was just always putting myself down and believing that there was always something wrong with me. There was never anything wrong with me, but I believe there was always something wrong, that this was wrong, 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 that I was imperfect in many different ways. I was okay in some, but in many others that I fell short for different reasons. And those were all lies. They were all lies. Lies that other people said, or maybe that was their perspective, but I didn't have to accept it. And though because those voices became the internal ones that I took as truth. And had I had the connection to my inner being the way that I have now, I would have been able to to recognize those and say like, oh no, that's not in alignment. Because now when something comes my way, I have that internal compass, that happiness is like a compass. Because when I'm on path and on purpose, I feel happy. I'm living the life that I came here to live. And when I don't feel happy about something that comes across my path, my plate, and I'm like, and it makes me feel bad about myself, I'm like, oh yeah, that's not in alignment. Because my inner being says, oh yeah, Teresa, you could do that. Because my first instinct might be, no, no, oh wow, or oh wow, look what that person's doing. I'll never be able to achieve that. And then my inner being right away says, Teresa, that's a lie. You can achieve that. So it's always correcting me because I'm tuned in to that compass. And when we don't feel good about things, it's because that's not in alignment with our truth. The truth is that I am powerful, that I am magnificent, that I am extraordinary, that I'm unique, that I'm special, that I'm many beautiful things. And my inner being is always cheering me on and says, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's always a yes. The inner being's always a yes, yes, yes. It's the other one that says, no, no, no. And I'm tired of that part. I'm tired of that part. I'm so like this now. I'm like, really? 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 No, for real. I'm like, really? I'm tired of you. I'm tired of you. I'm tired of you. Because it's just lies. You're just spewing lies. And so I would have been able to tune in to those lies earlier, and I wouldn't have had to accomplish all the things that I did from a place of lack within myself, from a place of unworthiness, and from a place of not enoughness. That these things were all about trying to make me feel like I was enough for other people, enough for the things that I was achieving, not knowing that I was enough as I was at that time, at any time. I am always enough, and I am always worthy of the things that come to me, whether I achieve them or not. So it's that would have changed. I wouldn't have gone through life hating on myself as much as I was, but rather loving all aspects of myself, even as I was working maybe to better myself, or or to achieve the things that I wanted to do, but always doing it from a place of like cheerleader instead of a place of like condemner.
I want to thank you. I know we're not finished, but I want to thank you right now because you've just given me the title of this episode.
Mm.
And so I've got some questions about what you've said, but I wanted to just let you know the title of this episode is There Was Never Anything Wrong with Me.
Mm. Mm.
That's really important. All of us. Because there's nothing wrong with any of us.
Mm-hmm.
We are all the perfectly, imperfectly perfect that we are. And I've had people say to me, oh, there's no such thing as perfect. Actually, there is. Everything is perfectly perfect.
Mm-hmm.
In its imperfection, it is perfect. It is simply the judgment
Mm-hmm.
that causes the perceived imperfection.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you were talking about being in alignment with happiness, and over here, you know you're in alignment, you're happy, and when you're not happy, you know you're not in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you do? What do you do when you're not in alignment? What do you do when you're not happy?
Mm-hmm.
To get you back to that stage of happiness, and do you allow yourself to be in that not happy state for any period of time? Or when you get there, do you go, ah, exit, stage left, I'm happy again?
Mm-hmm. So
How
thank
do you
you.
handle it?
So thank you for asking that. I think if it's okay, I would like to explain a little bit more about what real happiness is so that we
Go for it.
understand that it's actually more than a transient emotion. So, happiness is really a state of being, which means that we are happiness already, and we are happiness in abundance. We are love already and love in abundance, peace already and in abundance. That happiness is really a facet of love. That if we look at love like a prism, when we shine light through that prism, it creates a beautiful rainbow of color. All of those colors are facets of love. So we have happiness and joy and harmony and excitement and enthusiasm and peace and all the good feeling emotions, but they all stem from love. That's why being connected to the love that we are is so important. And so happiness is us connected to that part of ourselves that is always happy and happy in abundance. But the world seems to pull us away every single day. That I wake up connected to my happiness and then different things happen, right? You have traffic, you have interactions with crabby people, you have, your kids are all over the place, lots of different things pulling us away from our happiness. So how do we align? Which is what Jake's question was. How do we align our mental, emotional, and physical self with the part of us that is always happy? The other thing to recognize about happiness is that happiness is like the sun. It is always there. Even when we have nighttime, the sun is there. Even when the clouds move in front, the sun is always there. The clouds are like those things that are pulling us away from our happiness. They're like blocks to our happiness. So, how do we remove the blocks? And Jay asked me, how long might it take you to remove those clouds? Well, I've become so sensitive to like when those clouds move in front that I decide how and when I'm going to go ahead and remove those clouds. And usually now I'm pretty good at it. That as soon as I notice that I'm starting to be pulled away, I go ahead and I implement the very many tools and practices and methodologies that are part of my coaching practice that I've utilized myself over the course of over 10 years to get myself to a place of happiness. So I utilize those tools right away because I want to return to the happiness that I am. And so I then tune into what part of myself doesn't feel happy. Is it my physical self? Because sometimes it's that I've been working too long at the computer. My neck starts to get sore, my shoulder gets sore, my hips are tight. Then I'm like, oh, how do I align my physical self so that my body feels happy? That I exercise, I'm out in nature, I take walks, I dance, I listen to music, different things that helps my body to release happiness hormones. Those things that our body does that naturally releases biochemicals in the body that help us to feel happy is important, because going on a medication and not doing the practices is going to keep us again stuck in keeping those clouds in front. We need to know, how do we deal with those clouds? And we are not taught or given the tools we need to know how to do that. And it always stems from love, that our body is a temple to our soul or our spirit. So, of course, we want to love our bodies the way that it should. And so I know that I need to limit particular substances like alcohol or too much coffee or processed foods and all those things that don't make my body feel good. And so I tune into the communication of that. And what does it need me to do? Do I need to go to the doctors? Do I need to book a massage? What is it that I need to do to align my body, my physical self with that happiness? Or maybe it's my emotional self. I tune into that and it doesn't feel happy. So I know that if I'm not happy, I'm misaligned. What is it that's making me feel unhappy on the inside? It's making me feel angry or frustrated or disconnected. Things happen to us that we don't, it's that energy, we're just feeling energy and we interpret that energy as emotions. And so our emotions is telling us, okay, if you're not feeling happy, what do you need to do to help you to feel more excited, more passionate, more engaged with what it is that you're doing? Tune into that, because maybe it's something that you're working on that doesn't make you feel excited. Or maybe the things that do make you feel excited are the things that you need to do more of. And then oftentimes it's our mental self. Our mental self is so powerful that many times the things that we're thinking about shift our emotional self. And so I tune into that part of myself, and I think about, what am I thinking about? Am I thinking empowering thoughts about myself, or am I thinking limiting ones? Am I thinking negatively about myself or about the situation? What is my perspective that's making me feel not that happy? And so tuning into the communication of all aspects of ourselves are going to help us to realign with the part of us that is always happy and happy in abundance. And by knowing what are those tools to adjust our mental self, when I said that I'm rewiring and reprogramming, well, how do we do that? There are tools and practices that help us to do that. Positive affirmations, mantras are something that I use almost every single day, where I empower myself with power statements that I tell myself to be that which I wish to be in the world, and to do the work that I'm doing now. Could I have ever imagined me sitting here in front of this screen telling all of you the things that I have learned and that has set me on a mission, which is to help make the world a happier place by sharing the steps that we can take to live our happiest life? What are those tools? What are those strategies? What are those things that we need to do on an everyday basis that helps us to live, to be connected to the happiness that we are, and to do that every single day?
So you did mention positive affirmations,
Mhm.
and I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment. We've heard about positive affirmations for a long time. Do they really work?
And they work when you practice them over and over and over and over and over and over. That we know with the science of neuroplasticity that we have neural pathways that are so ingrained and so deep with the negative beliefs, that the positive affirmations. And one thing that I'm learning now about the affirmations too is that it's one thing for me to say, I am successful, I am achieving my dreams. I am. That I am is very important because it places you in the now moment of being those things that you're wishing to shift and transition. But it can feel kind of fake, right? It feels inauthentic when I say, "Oh, I'm a famous actress," if that's what I wanted to be. I am. But meanwhile, I'm not. I'm not even taking any steps to be an actress, and I'm very far away from me. So it feels very inauthentic. It's more productive for us to turn that into a power statement that says, "Be the success," or be, and it's giving direction to my body, to my brain, to step into that which is real to me, right? That's what the things that I'm trying to step into. But be that now. Be
Can you
that.
give me an
Be that.
example? Let's pretend that you want to be this famous actress. Can you
Mhm.
give us a statement,
Mhm.
a sentence,
Yes.
as a positive affirmation
Mhm.
using that be?
So I'll use my power statement, which is, be the light that guides people home to who they really are. Be the light. Be the light. That means I have to embody it first. I must be the light to be able to guide others home to who they really are, to their true and authentic self. So I am to say, oh, I am a light. No, it says be it. Be it now. Step
So,
into it now.
so
And so
I
what
want to
does
be a
that
little
look like?
pedantic. I want to be pedantic here so people can actually get the actual phrasing correct. Your statement, be the light that blah, blah, blah. So you're starting the sentence with be rather than I am.
Mhm. I've
So,
shifted it slightly.
okay, so I am successful, or be successful at blah, blah, blah. And this way, it's telling the universe, God, whoever you want to believe in, that this is what I want. This is what I believe I am capable of. This is the destination. And allow the journey to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, how do you find the steps? Once you've done this positive affirmation, do you find that the steps to get to that achievement, how do they happen?
Mm-hmm. I let go and I let God. I surrender at that point.
But I don't want to let go. And that's everybody's. That's that. I mean, I know let go is the key
Yeah.
because I use the statement when you're at the edge of the cliff and you have to take that step forward. You have to believe there is either a bridge will appear,
Mm-hmm.
or you will know how to fly.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful.
When a bird lands on a branch, does it trust the branch that it's sitting on or its wings?
Mm-hmm.
It trusts its wings because if that branch breaks, it just goes flappity flap flap and off it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And does it hold on to the branch that has just broken? No, it lets it go. And quite often we don't let go of the scars. We don't let go of the pain. We don't let go of the situations that brought us down. We don't let go of the I'm a loser type statements.
Mm-hmm.
We hold on to them. But when you trust in your wings, or belief, or have faith and trust yourself, that's when the miracles happen. I
Yeah.
also have
Oh,
I also have a statement.
can
Please
I
go
add
for it.
one thing to that? When you said it trusts in its wings, it trusts in the air beneath its wings, that when it expands its wings and it's going to take flight, there's something. That's the invisible that we're talking about. That is
Oh,
the divine, the source that is always there, invisible, that as it expands its wing and it takes that leap, it is supported. And it is supported unconditionally. It doesn't say to that little bird, no, you're going to have to do this on your own. It's there. It's the air beneath our wings, always. And surrendering to that power that we are a part of, because we are all one. We are one with all of it. And trusting and relinquishing that to something that is greater than ourselves, that of course that we are a part of, is the challenge, as Jake said. But we can trust, just as that bird trusts, that if the branch beneath it is going to break and it expands its wings, it's got its back. The universe always has our back. And so I can completely release in that and know that I am being guided, loved, and supported always, and that we are not doing life alone, even when we feel like it, because I was there too. We are not alone ever, ever. And the more that we do this work about connecting with that world inside of ourselves, we will realize the truth of that what we're talking about? That there is that invisible energy that is just loving, guiding, and supporting us unconditionally. Not, oh, you were bad, so no, it's not gonna happen for you. Unconditionally, always.
Can we love ourselves unconditionally? Can we really do that?
I know. That's the challenge. That is the challenge, is to love ourselves in that way. And that's the work. That is the work. That is the work to get to that place that we are loving ourselves exactly like that.
To love ourselves unconditionally means we have to love the fact that I've got grey hair. Thanks, Dad. You know, I've got, if you sit me next to my mother, I look like her. You sit me next to my father, I look like him. Thanks, parents. I want to look like me.
Beautiful you, Jake. Beautiful you.
And
Perfection
beautiful
you.
you. And perfect you, my dear. This is the thing. We look at it and we judge.
Mhm.
And that judgment, it destroys our happiness.
Mhm.
It destroys how much we love ourselves.
Yes.
Yet we are not taught how to judge ourselves correctly, because that you were saying, and I want to go back to your feeling of happiness is in alignment, and when you're not happy, you know you're out of alignment,
Mhm.
and you're seeing the contrast, and you have learned that contrast is your GPS. This is your inner GPS. This is how you guide yourself, and sometimes you have to go in the wrong direction. If I was going to drive from point A to point B, whatever, from one city to another, do I just go in a straight line? Nope. I turn left, I go straight, I turn right, I go straight, I turn left, I go straight, I turn right, I go straight, I go up a mountain, down a mountain, through a tunnel. There are all sorts of obstacles on that journey, but I have a destination, and that destination is love and happiness. And as we travel on that destination, well, on that journey, sorry, to our destination, I might get a flat tire. I might have to stop and sleep. I might have to stop and eat. I might have to stop and have a bathroom break at a gas station bathroom. The experience may not be what I like. It could rain. There could be thunder and lightning. The bridge could be out and I might have to be detoured. But I'm still on the journey to my destination.
Mhm.
And that destination is powered by happiness and love.
Yeah. It's all
When we realize
about the journey, about the journey. I know you're using the word the destination, but it's actually about being happy along the journey to that which we're headed to. And the greatest indicator of how happy we will be in the future is how happy we can be now in the present moment, in every moment.
and that is the greatest advice that anyone could ever have. Be happy now in the present moment. Teresa, we've run out of time. We could go on for a lot longer. And I'm pretty sure after we finish this recording, we're going to talk a bit more. So I want to thank you for being the most amazing guest today. If people want to find you, we are going to have your photo and a button that links to your preferred method of communication on our website. But where can they go if they want to find you?
Thank you so much. And so I've I've really tried what you saw today is the real me, that I can't be anything other than that. and that the topics we've talked about today really, like, really hit home. And I really hope that people want to connect with me, because I would love to hear about people's own journeys towards finding their happiness, or hearing those struggles. That I have lots of different tools and spaces that I have. So I have shows. I have a YouTube channel that's at Teresa Greco _ Steps to Happiness, that has many of my interviews, all of the shows that I've been a part of, where I'm always actively sharing all of the steps. I have a TEDx talk that people can watch there as well. I'm on all the social media platforms. So on Instagram at Teresa Greco _ Steps to Happiness. On same thing on YouTube, it's the same handle. On TikTok at Teresa _ Greco. On LinkedIn at Teresa Greco, at Steps to Happiness with Teresa Greco, or you can always find all of it on my website, teresagreco.ca.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for being our happiest guest.
I don't know if I was always smiling. I feel like I was more, going through all of but that's important, because we put on the mask, right? We put on the mask. Oh, we've got everything together. Yeah, I could have shown up like that. Oh, look at me. I've got everything together. But I didn't always have it together. And to have it together, I do this work every single day. It's not like you get to a happy place and you just stay there. No, every single day I feel like there are different things that are pulling me away, and I have to realign all the time. And so thank you so much for having me on the show and being able to share more about my story. Thank you.
It's certainly been an honor. And that's it for today's show. Wow. We'll see you next time on Speakers on Edge.